of the first of 2 races this year in Pocono. Well, not Pocono, whatever they want to call this place. Pocono. Now, Pocono is the tricky triangle. Pocono has only 3 corners and is shaped like a triangle, thus being the Illuminati track. Not really. I made that up. This here is the Axalta We Paint Winners 400. Now, in the first practice, Kevin Harvick was the fastest, with my favorite driver being 13th, obviously that being Kyle Larson. Kevin Harvick is my second favorite driver. In second practice, Kevin Harvick was first, and Kyle Larson was 8th. In final practice, Kevin Harvick was first, and Kyle Larson was second. During qualifying, though, things got a bit interesting in turn 2. The final round, Denny Hamlin spun out, and Kurt Busch got the pole, which is surprising as Kevin Harvick led. I thought when they qualified on Friday, there had been 1 practice session. There had been 1 practice session, and there had been 1 pole qualifying, so everybody thought Kevin Harvick was going to get the pole. And Kyle Larson was 15th in that. So, Kurt Busch will start first, Carl Edwards will be second, Martin Truex Jr. third, Jeff Gordon 4th, Kevin Harvick 5th, Austin Dillon 6th, Brad Keselowski 7th, Denny Hamlin 8th, Jimmy Johnson 9th, Kyle Busch 10th, Joey Logano 11th, and Casey Kane 12th. That rounds up the top 12 of the first round of qualifying. Kyle Larson got 15th, and NASCAR's most popular driver, and the winner of both Pocono races last year, Dale Jr., starts 20th. Now, this is going to be very interesting. The corner is very bumpy, and that's only one of the few things that gets mentioned this week. So, first of all, let's take a drive around Pocono. Now, before that, this week here was big because of a lot of talk of the driver council, which took place last week at Dover. This included a bunch of drivers, including Kevin Harvick, Jeff Gordon, Joey Logano, Kyle Larson, and Denny Hamlin, some other people. Some drivers that were not included, like Jimmy Johnson and Brad Keselowski. Jimmy Johnson was very open about it, saying that he had not won enough races or enough championships and missed the memo to be part of it. That wasn't really just part of it. I think they just picked drivers that they thought should be in it. So, I don't know why they didn't pick Jimmy Johnson, but either way, the driver council, essentially the drivers openly will talk with NASCAR about what they think should happen in the sport, what they like about the cars, packages and stuff like that, the rule package and stuff for 2015, to make changes to the 2016 season. Jeff Gordon, who's retiring, said he would be open to stay part of the driver council if they wanted him to, but if they don't want him to, he'll leave and let somebody else take his spot. So he openly wants to still be involved in NASCAR, even though he won't be driving in it, which I think would be interesting just to have him part of the driver council, in a sense that he could put in his input from previous years, but he won't be driving the cars next year, so he won't really have so much of an influence in the rules package of 2016. Now, next thing, Trevor Bayne in the Sprint Cup Series and Jennifer Jo Cobb in the Truck Series both got P1 penalties for leaving their vehicles at Dover under caution. Circumstances which changed last year after Tony Stewart hit Kevin Ward Jr. at the race the weekend of Watkins Glen when he was at the whatever those cars are. After he hit him, after he left his car, so NASCAR changed the rule that you have to either get out and stand right next to your car if the car is on fire or it's full of smoke, and besides that you have to sit in your car with the window down. Jennifer Jo Cobb got mad at a driver and walked up the track, and Trevor Bayne just walked down the track a bit to get to the ambulance. The ambulance. But either way, so he went to it, and he got penalty, so they both got fined, and both on probation until December 31st. The next thing, Kevin Harvick also got a penalty for getting 2 written warnings in consecutive weeks. That means that he got 43rd pit selection for this weekend's Axalta We Paint Winners 400 at Pocono. So even though he would have got 5th pit selection, instead he got 43rd pit selection. Doesn't really matter. Pocono's not really that important to make your pit selection. As important as Dover was for Jimmy Johnson, who got to have about the 13th or 14th pit selection. Now, on to Pocono. But before that, actually, the end of the Dover race was very interesting. Kevin Harvick got second, again to Jimmy Johnson. Martin Truex Jr. leading a good amount of the race laps and stuff, ended up falling back. Kyle Busch got involved in a wreck. Trevor Bayne was in a wreck. A bunch of other drivers in a wreck, but really Kyle Busch was the big driver to get involved in a wreck. And also Denny Hamlin spun at the end, hitting Kurt Busch, damaging both their cars. Now, Jimmy Johnson went on to win the race to be his record 10th race win at Dover. So that was sort of big. Now, for the race at Pocono, the Axalta We Paint Winners 400. In the last 4 races, no, I think it's the last 5 races, yeah, because we had 2 in 2013. No, because there was 1 in 2012. So in 2012, a driver won from Hendrick Motorsports. In 2013, 2 other drivers won. So that would mean that those drivers would be Jimmy Johnson, Casey Kane, and Jeff Gordon would have won 2012, 2013. So 1 2012 and 2 2013. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. swept the Pocono races last year, 2014. So the Hendrick drivers are ones to watch. And you obviously have Kurt Busch and Kevin Harvick, who have Hendrick chassis and Hendrick engines up at the front. So 6 essentially Hendrick cars at the front. They should be good to watch. Brad Keselowski's going to try to get a win and redeem himself for last year. But I think that it should be a very interesting race to watch. Now, Pocono has 3 distinct corners instead of 4. Now, an issue that arose is that Pocono had 2 really rough winters. Now, for people that don't have around snow, what basically happens is the road freezes, it shrinks in the freeze, and then expands, and you wonder why I slowed down. I'm just showing with my hand, which didn't really matter because it's behind the camera. So basically, it freezes, it shrinks, and it expands and makes bumps in the road, frost heave. So for a lot of people that live in Northeast and New England and New York and all that area, you know what I'm talking about. For people that live in the South or in the West Coast and like California and those areas, probably don't really know so much of what I'm saying, especially if you live in the Southern California. Maybe more in Northern California might get more snow. I'm not sure. But out of the way. So basically, everywhere that you get snow, the road will freeze, it will shrink, then it will expand once it comes back and make some bumps. So in the corner here, turn 2 really did get a bunch of bumps, so the car bumps through the corner. It's really... See the way that I'm making the car shake? The car sort of does that going over the bumps. It bottoms out, it hits the bumps, so there's a lot of sparks and everything. So it's a big mess. Cars are spinning out there. So we will see what happens at that spot. Now it's time for me to say who I think is going to win this week's Axalta We Paint Winners 400. My picks to win, I'm going to have to go with, well, as always, I picked 3 drivers. I'm going to go with the 2014 Sprint Cup Series champion and current points leader, Kevin Harvick. My second pick is 2006 to 2010 and 2013, and last week's winner and leader of the chase grid with the most wins of 4, Jimmy Johnson. And I'm going to go with the 2014 Rookie of the Year winner, Kyle Larson, as my 3 picks. So, Kevin Harvick in the 4 car with the Budweiser paint scheme. Yeah, he's got Budweiser. Jimmy Johnson with his Lowe's Pro Service car. And Kyle Larson with his Target Chevrolet. Watch one of those 3 to get the win this week at Pocono. Now, it's always sort of difficult for me to pick Jimmy Johnson because I like to have my pick be right, and Jimmy Johnson will win a lot, so I'm sort of like, okay, let's go with Jimmy Johnson, he's a good bet. But I don't really like Jimmy Johnson, so it's sort of difficult to make him as a pick. Now, I don't mind driving as Jimmy Johnson in the video game. And I don't really mind if he wins occasionally, if he wins 1 or 2 races over. Even if he won the 4 races he's won over the span of the full season, I wouldn't really get mad. I think sort of the things that he's won 2 win championships in a row. That's really what made me not like him. That's the same thing with like lots of things, like for sports. Like if you go with, say it's football, and you're gonna pick a team that you think, okay, this team could win. If you go with the Patriots, you got a good bet, but I don't like the Patriots, so it's something like that. So it's sort of like that. So if I'm gonna do fantasy football, if I want to get a quarterback to do good, I would want to pick Tom Brady, but then I'll have to want Tom Brady to do good. I don't want him to do good because I don't like the Patriots. It's the same with fantasy baseball. If you pick the team that you don't like players, so for me, if I pick a Yankee player, I don't want the Yankees to do good, but I want them to do good for my team. So that kind of thing, except for there's no $75 in the end. Either way, Pocono, I think it's interesting because it's a triangular track. It doesn't have the most exciting action, but it's always fun. And I've never won on it in NASCAR 14 or NASCAR 15. This year also being the 3rd NASCAR 15 driving in this video game that we've done since the game came out. 2 times as Jimmy Johnson, 1 time as Carl Edwards. So hopefully next week we will be driving as Kevin Harvick or Kyle Larson as we preview Michigan. That's what we have for you in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the Pocono race. Comment below who you think is going to win. And also, tell me what you think of the new channel picture, which I changed. I'm not sure if it's up yet, if it changed everything over. I know it changed on my email, and because I checked that. So it should change on my thing, the YouTube. Also, make sure you check out my Instagram and Twitter. They were both mentioned at the very beginning of the video, up in the top corner, in yellow letters. So, make sure to check that out. Thanks for watching. And also, for those of you interested in my comedy vlogs, we'll have some comedy vlogs coming up soon. And maybe we'll do some actual racing here at Pocono. Not Pocono, but do some actual NASCAR racing in this game. Thank you guys for watching. Enjoy the race. We'll see you next week at Michigan.